United States-Canada-Trump, Carney meeting, detailed reaction and analysis. 1. The 51st state remark, a political flashpoint. Trump's comment about Canada becoming the 51st state was provocative but unsurprising for those familiar with his rhetorical style. While clearly not a serious policy proposal, it was strategically timed. Trump has a long history of using hyperbole to shift narratives or apply pressure in negotiations. Carney's response, "Canada is not for sale," was assertive and politically necessary. It reinforced national pride and sovereignty while allowing him to score domestic points across party lines. This moment became symbolic, Trump's America First populism clashing with Canada's need to assert independence on the world stage. Rhetoric takeaway: this was less about actual annexation and more about power dynamics and Carney's need to draw a firm line early in his leadership. 2. Trade tensions, a familiar battlefield. The re-emergence of tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, and autos echoes the earlier Trump administration's trade war strategies. Trump's emphasis on fair deals and perceived imbalances is a familiar playbook, but Carney, an economist and former central banker, is not easily outmaneuvered. He stressed Canada's role in North American supply chains and energy exports, indicating Canada may hold more leverage than Trump acknowledges. However, no immediate resolutions were reached. Rhetoric analysis: Trump likely sees tariffs as both leverage and a message to domestic manufacturers. Carney, in turn, is betting on economic interdependence to resist U.S. pressure. Expect prolonged complex negotiations over the USMCA 2.0. 3. Diplomacy, tense but controlled. Despite fiery headlines, the tone of the meeting was relatively cordial. Trump called Carney a very good person, suggesting he respects Carney's competence even if their policy goals diverge. Carney, for his part, framed the conversation as constructive, a signal that Canada aims to keep the door open for diplomacy rather than escalation. Rhetoric implication: unlike in previous US-Canada friction points, e.g. with Trudeau, this relationship may be more professional and pragmatic, even if ideologically mismatched. 4. Public perception and political stakes. For Trump, the meeting allowed him to flex geopolitical muscle while feeding nationalist sentiment, useful in a tight election year. For Carney, standing up to Trump enhances his domestic image, especially as a newly elected PM facing pressure to defend Canadian interests. Carney's refusal to engage in political theater while firmly defending Canada plays well to both centrists and progressives. Trump, meanwhile, thrives in headline-generating controversies. 5. What to watch next. G7 Summit in Alberta, likely the next high-stakes forum for bilateral negotiation. Both leaders will try to shape the narrative in their favor. USMCA talks: if Trump imposes further trade barriers, Carney may turn to the EU or China for alternative markets, adding a global dimension to the dispute. Energy and defense cooperation: these were not the focus of this meeting but could become bargaining chips in future talks. Final verdict: this was not just a diplomatic formality, it was a strategic positioning session between two very different leaders. Carney emerged composed and firm, while Trump remained unpredictable and combative. The future of US-Canada relations may depend on whether both sides can move from rhetoric to substance without inflaming tensions. What happens when a Wall Street economist meets a real estate tycoon in the world's most powerful boardroom? Sparks fly, lines are drawn, and the future of North American trade hangs in the balance. As Trump teases annexation and Carney draws red lines, one thing's clear: this isn't just diplomacy, it's a battle for economic sovereignty and political leverage. The next move? It could reshape more than just borders, it could redefine the US-Canada alliance for a generation.